The night shift lights hummed softly across the marble floors of Edentech Industries, a Fortune 500 company that prided itself on innovation and efficiency. At 11:45 p.m., the last person expected to be in the executive tower was Ethan Cole, the janitor. A quiet, middle-aged single dad who always wore the same faded blue uniform, his name tag half scratched, and a small smile no one could quite forget. He moved through the silent hallways with practiced care, sweeping floors that shone like mirrors and humming a lullaby his late wife used to sing. Ethan didn't speak much. People assumed he was just another guy trying to make ends meet. But what they didn't know, what no one ever noticed, was that every payday, half of his modest check disappeared. Not into bills, not into savings, but toward something greater. The discovery came by accident. One cold evening, Clara Reynolds, the company's 35-year-old CEO, came back to the office unannounced, known for her perfectionism. She was the kind of leader whose name made employees straighten their backs when she passed. She was sharp, brilliant, and feared. Yet lately, something inside her felt empty. Her father, who built the company from scratch, had passed away months earlier, leaving her not just the business, but also the heavy silence of a life defined by profit margins and meetings. That night, she couldn't sleep, so she drove to the office, hoping work would distract her. As she stepped off the elevator, she heard faint humming echoing down the hallway. Following the sound, she found Ethan on his knees, scrubbing a stain near the conference room. Startled, he stood up quickly. "Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know anyone was still here." Clara offered a rare smile. "Neither did I." For a moment, they just stood there, the powerful CEO and the quiet janitor, separated by worlds yet bound by exhaustion. She glanced at the floor. "You do good work, Ethan. I don't think I've ever seen this place cleaner." "Thank you, ma'am," he said softly. "I just try to leave things better than I found them." The word stuck with her. Leave things better than you found them. A week later, Clara was reviewing expense reports when something caught her eye. An unusual payroll note. Ethan Cole had opted to donate 50% of his paycheck every month to something called the Haven House Foundation. Curiosity sparked. She dug deeper. The Haven House wasn't a large organization. It was a small, struggling orphanage on the outskirts of town. Their records showed years of consistent donations, all under Ethan's name. Clara was stunned. How could a man earning barely enough to live give away half his income every single month? She sat there, silent for a long time, feeling something stir inside her, a mix of shame and awe. The next day, she decided to see it for herself. Clara drove to the address listed on the donation forms. The orphanage was small, its paint peeling, the playground rusted. Yet laughter filled the air. Children were running barefoot, chasing bubbles. Inside, the caretaker greeted her warmly. When Clara introduced herself, the woman's face lit up. "Oh, you must be here about Ethan?" "Ethan?" Clara blinked. "Yes, he's been helping us for years. He brings toys, fixes things, sometimes reads to the kids on weekends. The children adore him." Through the window, Clara saw him in the yard, Ethan, in his janitor uniform, kneeling beside a little boy, showing him how to fly a paper airplane. The sight hit her like a wave. She'd spent her life chasing profits, growing a company worth billions, yet somehow she'd missed what truly mattered. The simple, quiet goodness that didn't need to be announced. That evening, when Ethan returned to work, Clara was waiting. "I went to the Haven House today," she said gently. He froze, unsure how to respond. "You shouldn't have done that," he murmured. "I don't do it for attention." "I know," she said softly. "That's what makes it so powerful." He looked down, embarrassed. "Those kids, they remind me of my daughter. After my wife passed, I just wanted to make sure someone out there still had hope." Clara's throat tightened. "You gave them more than hope, Ethan. You gave them family." There was a long silence. Then, for the first time, she extended her hand. "Let me help you." In the weeks that followed, Clara made a decision that shocked her board. She launched the Eden Hope Initiative, a company-funded program supporting orphanages, single parents, and underprivileged children across the state. But she didn't announce it in her own name. Instead, she dedicated it quietly, inspired by an employee who reminded us what real wealth looks like. Ethan's eyes filled with tears when he saw the sign outside the first newly renovated orphanage, the Haven House, sponsored by Eden Tech, in honor of Ethan Cole. Months later, at the annual company gala, Clara invited Ethan to the stage. He hesitated, uncomfortable in his suit, but she smiled. "Sometimes," She told the crowd, leadership isn't about how high you climb, it's about how deeply you care. And tonight, I want to honor someone who taught me that success means nothing if it doesn't lift others. The audience stood, applauding. Ethan looked out, overwhelmed, then spoke quietly into the microphone. I never wanted to be noticed. I just wanted to make sure kindness didn't go out of style. As the applause swelled and lights shimmered above them, Clara realized something profound. It wasn't her company that had changed the world that night. It was one humble janitor with a heart big enough to hold everyone else's pain. And somewhere, perhaps smiling down from above, was a little girl's mother, proud of the man who never stopped giving. In a world chasing success, it's the quiet acts of kindness that create the loudest echoes.